Hi folks and welcome. I'm Marco, that's the guy on the screen, my name is there. What you're watching now is first of many recordings that came from a presentation I held at the beginning of December of 2023 at Press Center. I have split the whole personal finance presentation into a couple of logical parts so it's a bit easier to follow. If you want to throw this in as a podcast in the background while you do some other work, I have also provided a link in the description to one whole video, but I thought it made more sense to split it into logical chunks so it's a bit more consumable and you don't get afraid from a very long recording. Anyways, that's it. I'm not gonna bother you more. I'm gonna let you enjoy the presentation. If you want to learn more or if you want to get notified when the next one comes out or if I do something interesting, you can subscribe to my newsletter in the description. That's all. I hope you enjoy. Today's guarantee is the only one that I'll have, and that's that this will be the best presentation that you have ever seen, or the worst presentation that you have ever seen, or somewhere in between. So all jokes aside, I have tried to concoct something that's going to be interesting for all of you. Mostly it's going to be aimed for people who are new to personal finance and to finance in general. But I tried to touch upon some mindset in the beginning, some easier topics, something to get us going, something a bit more philosophical, since I thought that people would be more interested in that. And then later on, as we go through the presentation, we're going to touch on some more concrete topics, such as investing, such as debt. Those are going to be some more harder and to the point, and but it's going to be slowly eased in. So I hope you don't get overwhelmed. So yeah, I have a very unique way of presenting things. Usually I display them as pillars, and today I've built a whole temple. This whole drawing is my doing, so please admire it. And this is the concept that I call the Temple of Wealth, and it consists of 4 pillars, and that's the 4 pillars that we're going to talk about today. I was very original, so the first pillar is the pillar of income, the second one is the pillar of expenses, the third one is the pillar of investments, and the fourth one is the pillar of debt. I know, very, very original. I'm sure no one ever came up with this type of formatting before. And before we continue into any of these, we're going to start with the apex of the whole temple, the reason why we're even talking about this, and we're going to introduce it with a couple of concepts. So the whole pillar system, it's all organized in 3 topics for each pillar that I thought would be the best suited for that one. And my idea is that if you have the whole picture, if we reveal all of these and learn about all of these, you're going to be pretty well financially. That's at least the idea. So first I want to introduce you to the concept of ikigai. It's a Japanese concept that is meant to represent the purpose and the meaning in life, and it's a very specific way that they describe life, and it's the one I want to talk about because it's the reason why we're even talking about finances today. I don't want to inspire people to aim for finances because of status or because of some arbitrary reason. I want you to know why we're aiming to do what we are doing today. I want you to know why I'm so passionate about a topic, and I want you to know why I want you all to have a healthy financial future. So the concept basically means that the more you align what you love with what you're good at, with what the world needs and what you can get paid for, the better. You don't want to just do things that get you paid well. You just don't want to do the things that you love because sometimes they don't have the overlap. And the idea of life, at least by Ikigai, is to try and find the perfect center where you can be free to do and spend time as you wish. And throughout this whole journey today, I hope that you understand that we are trying to learn finances with the whole purpose of allowing you to focus on what you love to do, on what you're good at, stuff like that, of trying to allow you to have more freedom and to have more options so that you can move to more preferable areas of this diagram. So money essentially buys you options. People like to think of it buying you freedom, It doesn't really do that. It buys you options to move and do stuff as you prefer. And when I talk today about money management, when I talk today about money in general, I want you to visualize in yourself a parallel of me talking about time as well. So when I say about how you invest your money, or how you invest, or how you spend your money, or how we earn money, stuff like that, I want you to think of it in terms of the better I get at managing money, the better I get at managing all of this, the better I'll be with managing my time, and the more options I'll have to do what I want to do and not what I need to do. Because we all function in this world with some obligations and some free will, and we need to fulfill those obligations. And the idea is that the better you do with money, the more freedom you have to fulfill those obligations the way you want to do it. So this is just like a motivational slide. It's going to get less and less philosophical as we go, and more practical. But this is to get us going. So I also, if you talk me here about this, I also like to talk a lot about what actually is like the essence of your being, and what the money concretely like fuels. So when you have a better financial health, you're able to focus on the career you love. You're better equipped to do things more for the reasons other than just financial gain. And you can improve your health, you can improve your relationships, you can improve your career. It gives you options, and it gives you freedom to, with a little sacrifice of some time and a little sacrifice of some attention that hopefully you spend today and you spend across some time, you're going to see gains in all other areas of life. So we're not here being, let's say, like materialistic terribly. The point is not to acquire money for the sake of money, or to manage money and obsess over money for the sake of money. The point is that if we just be a little bit more diligent, we can improve our lives substantially in many other areas that are important to us. So that was the key of the whole like system, and that's like the peak motivation that all the pillars are aiming to support. And the other concept that I think is very important is to understand that how these pillars work in conjecture with each other. So usually the problem that I see with people is that they tend to be like very good at one of the pillars, and then they focus on it, and because they like it, they enjoy it, they continue to focus on it. So I'll give you like a couple of examples of like some arbitrary numbers, and let's imagine that you get a score from 1 to 10 on each of the 4 pillars, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So this first guy, he is very well paid, but due to the fact that he's well paid, he doesn't really pay much attention how he spends his money. He doesn't really invest it. He thinks he earns a lot, so he just like, spends it however he finds. He is okay with that, since he has a lot of money. He doesn't get in terrible debt, but on the other hand, he also like will get an unwise purchase, or might get a car that he can't really afford, but it's kind of cool. So that's the first guy. The second one is a student that's looking for a job. So he doesn't really earn much or anything. His spending is quite good, or he manages his spending quite good because he has to. He doesn't have much money, so he tends to balance things out. He doesn't really have any investments, and he doesn't really have any debt. In this category, just to not get confused, the better the score debt, that means that you have less debt. Doesn't mean you have more debt, so just to not get confused. Then we have some guy who is like, I don't want to care about money. I don't want to think about money. He earns fine. He doesn't really care how he spends. He doesn't really care about how he invests. And, he's okay with managing debt because he just earns fine. And we have like the hardest category. That's like a person who is very unfortunate, in a very bad position, doesn't have a really good job, probably has people to support, has some spending on point. Those type of people tend to budget really well because they have to, again. And they're struggling. Of course, they're not investing, and they're in a bunch of terrible debt, usually like some mortgages and multiple different credit loans and stuff like that. So when we see this structure, usually we like, even this crowd, I like personally know of people who tend to like either be too focused on or too knowledgeable, for example, on investing and want to start investing and get into it, but they don't have other stuff in order. Or maybe some people who are very diligent about having like a proper budget or something, but stuff like that doesn't really impact that much. So for a person who earns a lot of money, he probably only knows how to improve the earnings. So he's gonna, in this example, increase his score from like 7 to a 9, and it's gonna have like an impact of his complete financial score. Is gonna increase it by like 28%, which is decent, right? He might even work harder and increase it even more, and he's really making good money, but his score is not impacted that much. So, and by the same token, the more he makes, the more he has the tendency to just spend it unwisely and to just throw it away and get like in a deeper trouble because he just increased his lifestyle. So what I propose here is that you try to balance it out. So just improving your spending habits a little bit more. You don't have to even have a proper budget or whatever. He's going to probably make much bigger difference in his life. So improving his investments with the kind of money he makes, it's going to be relatively easy to like get this score a bit up, and also like getting rid of a couple of unnecessary debts. He in this case, just by improving those scores a little bit, he managed to improve his total financial state by 3 times. And similarly, you can imagine that like a student getting a job is probably the most impactful thing the student can do. And like him worrying too much about investing or spending or whatever wouldn't help him as much, and so on and so on. Of course, like still, you're gonna have tougher times and easier times. It's like you're always gonna have those types of unfairness. But in this whole presentation, my aim is to like give you a well-rounded view, and for you personally to aim to at least have like maybe above average or a decent earning, a decent spending habits, maybe have some sort of a budget, be knowledgeable about investing, be like proactive, try to think, try to learn about it, and don't get into stupid debt. That's pretty much like the goal. If you do that, that's like not being exceptional in any of the categories. I think that you, by my example, these arbitrary scores that don't really translate too much, but are here to illustrate the point, they're gonna matter a lot. So the idea here is that these work in conjunction, and if you're really good at one and really bad at the other, you're not gonna both well in general. So yeah, this is like just another like philosophical principle, and now we can come to our first proper pillar.